a logo, ACB in print and braille. American Council of the Blind, together for a bright future. 64th Annual National Conference and Convention. General Session. Thursday, July 10th, 2025.
Welcome to day 5,000 of the 64th Annual Convention of the American Council of the Blind. You can tell I've totally lost track of where we are and when we are. I'm watching my little agenda, but my little agenda is wrong, so we'll probably trip over it a little bit. We do need a little flexibility this morning, so what was sent out for you is relatively accurate, but the timing isn't, so just bear with us this morning. We're going to begin with our Pledge of Allegiance, which is going to be our J.P. Morgan Leadership Fellows. So welcome them. And the flag is on the big screen, wherever that is. Right-hand side.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're running into a little challenge there. Okay, very good. Thank you, guys. That was just great. Excellent. All right, let's have our corporate sponsors followed by our individual sponsors.
We extend our heartfelt thanks to our 2025 conference gems. Their ongoing generosity and support of the American Council of the Blind, as well as our annual conference and convention, are deeply appreciated. Diamond sponsors: J.P. Morgan, Meta, Microsoft, Vanda, Waymo. Emerald sponsors: Amazon, Google, Verizon. Ruby sponsors: AT&T, CVS Health, Envision, Gerard Boucher, Humanware, Spectrum, Vispero. Onyx sponsors: ACB Families, IRA, American Printing House, Be My Eyes, Bosma, Democracy Live, Guiding Eyes for the Blind, T-Mobile, United Airlines. Choral sponsors: ACB Lions, Council of Citizens with Low Vision, Edward Jones, Library Users of America, National Industries for the Blind, Penny Forward, Userv, Waymap, Zooks, Buell Foundation. Pearl sponsors: Giga, Enhanced Voting.
Individual sponsors: Titanium, Christopher Bell, Deb Cook-Lewis, Michael Deaver, Brian Duffelmeyer, Alice Massa, Maria Stone, Tim Stone.
Platinum: Andrew Arvidsson, Marjorie Beeman, Betsy Doan, Tyson Ernst, John Gassman, Larry Gassman, Michael Golfo, Eric Malcolm, Roberta McCall, Glenn McCulley, Ursula McCulley, Edwin Rumsey, Vita Zavoli.
Gold: Shane Aguilera, Colette Arvidsson, Kimberly Avila, Joe Lynn Bailey Page, Sean Barrett, Jennifer Bazer, Conrad Bennett, Viola Benson, Elaine Boykin, Barbara Brown, Donna Brown, Elisa Bush, Karen Campbell, Ray Campbell, Jason Castingay, Charles Cronin, Mary Ellen Cronin, Virginia DeBlay, Janet Dickelman, Margot Downey, Jason Trapper, Stephen Dresser, Kathleen Duke, Mike Duke, Grady Ebert, Joyce Feinberg, Tom Frank, Catherine Frederick, David Goldstein, Howard Goldstein, Vicky Golightly, Christopher Gray, Mary Heroyan, Brian Hartgen, Peter Heidi, Susan Heidi, Debbie Hill, Marilee Hill Kennedy, Cynthia Hirakawa, George Holliday, Donald Horn, Kathleen Hudziak, Christine Hunsinger, Douglas Hunsinger, Linda Hunt, Douglas Ingram, Connie Giacomini, Peter Giacomini, Linda Johnson, Richard Johnson, Victoria Kennedy, Rita Kirsch, Amanda Lee, Gary Legates, Ninette Legates, Barbara Lombardi, Kathy Lyons, Jean Mann, John McCann, Rick Morin, Kate Morse, Charles Neverett, Zachary Nipper, Cecily Nipper Sr., Terry Pacheco, Donna Pomerantz, Mitchell Pomerantz, Chris Prentice, Sherry Richardson, Johanna Ruoff, Adam Ruschival, Carla Ruschival, Annalie Russo, Marilyn Sanders, Lori Scharf, Patrick Sheehan, Dennis Sims, Thomas Spoon, Michael Stern, James Swartz, Randy Talla, Howard Thomas, Janice Thomas, Joseph Tingler, Lee Tucker, Patricia Tussing, Daphne Viriol.
Silver: Mary Abramson, Dave Adams, Anthony Acamini, Albert Anderson, Ralph Anderson, Roseanne Ashby, Judy August, Andrew Baracco, Steve Bauer, Artis Bazin, Kevin Burkery, Norma Boge, Rick Boggs, Christina Brino, Lisa Brooks, Ronald Brooks, Margaret Bookman Garcia, Carolyn Burley, Laura Lee Kastner, Brian Charlson, Kim Charlson, Enchia Petta, Teresa Christian, Ryan Cordell, Christy Crespin, Edward Crespin, Teresa Curry, Elizabeth Davidson, Christopher Devon, Rita Dillek, Marcy Duty, Lucy Edmonds, Marcia Farrow, Michael Garrett, Peggy Garrett, Mary Ann Grignan, Deborah Grubb, Jennifer Harnish, Nona Heroyan, Jeffrey Harris, Rochelle Hart, Debbie Hazelton, Cindy Hollis, Melody Holloway, Samantha Hubbard, Jim Girac, Samuel Joel, Eldon Kaiser, Deborah Kendrick, Donald Coors, Geraldine Coors, Thomas Love, Eugene Lozano, Julie McCullough, Dale McQuirk, Sue McQuirk, Gary Messman, Pamela Metz, Jason Miller, Michael Moran, Rosalind Nadler, Bet Pasanante Rodriguez, Amanda Petrie-Sin, Linda Porel, Carl Richardson, Shirley Roberts, Deborah Robinson, Sherry Rogers, Susan Rogers, Michael Russell, Audrey Shading, Nicole Schlender, Catherine Schmidt-Whitaker, Rachel Schroeder, Christine Schumacher, Deanna Scoggins, LaDonna Seliger, Connie Sims, Melanie Sinowi, Joe Slayton, Kevin Slayton, Courtney Smith, Leslie Spoon, Sharon Straszkowski, Jeff Tom, Leslie Tom, Mary Tyson, Deborah Versteeg, Richard Villa, Richard Vonderhaar, Charlene Wills, Donald Worth, Sheila Young.
Bronze: Talaba Adissa, Michael Babcock, Mary Baracco, Sally Benjamin, Josette Bidlack, Audley Blackburn, Kathy Blackburn, Glenda Blanchard, Elizabeth Botner, Susan Bowmaster, and Brash, Mark Bulger, Sandra Burgess, and Byington, Michael Byington, Leola Campbell, Susan Card, Kimberly Carmichael, Alan Casey, Kathy Casey, Dorlin Catron, Carl Chappell, Brian Chase, Wilma Chestnut House, Donna Clark, Nicole Kobe, Pam Coffey, Belinda Collins, Andrea Connor, Doreen Cornwell, Natalie Couch, David Cox, Patty Cox, Cheryl Cummings, Thomas Cummings, Sophia Curtis, Michelle Denzer, Linda Disney, Becky Dunkerson, Tony Eames, Eric Edwards, Paul Edwards, John Farina, Kathy Farina, Beth Fazio, Hazel Fields, Kelly Ford, Carol Francisco, Ninetta Garner, Kathleen Gerhardt, Jen Hawthorne, Mary Carla Hayes, Terry Lynn Higashi Akamini, Bruce Hildebrand, Linda Holliday, Pamela Holloway, John Hallstein, Gwendolyn Hovendick, Marion Howell, Suzanne Howell, Betty Huffman, Karen Hughes, Aaron Jarrell, Blaine Jemming, Catherine Johnson, Jean Kalsha, Kristen Kelling, Lynn Coral, Martin Kuhn, Jeanette Kutash, Cindy Laban, Pauline Lamontagne, Kevin LaRose, Katie Lear, Mark Lear, Paul Lewis, Pamela Locke, Celeste Lopez, Carol Mackey, Raymond Marcus, Dora Martinez, Michael McCulloch, Gail Metoyer, Paul Miller, Kenneth Mitchell, Jean Marie Moore, Maureen Moscato, Marsha Moses, Marilyn Murata, Chantal Napier, Destine Noller, Deanna Noriega, Michael O'Brien, Lorraine Olison, Mary Otten, Janet Parmenter, Kendall Perry, Teresa Petrie, Mary Pixarello, Deb Poots, Bruce Ratke, Randy Reed, Lynn Roberts, Bonnie Robertson, Stephen Robertson, Debbie Rosier, Sandra Rukonich, Diane Scalzi, Lynn Schneider, Delaney Schroeder, Kenneth Semyon, Darian Slayton Fleming, Jason Smith, John Smith, Ellen Sorensen, Joe Sorensen, Naomi Soul, Janice Squires, Candace Steppen, Monica Svopa, Thomas Svopa, Richard Swan, Ellen Telker, Lindsay Tilden, Charlie Tips, Ruth Tips, Thomas Tobin, Caroline Tays, Sandy Troiano, David Trott, Rhonda Trott, Robert Turner, Holly Turry, Vicky Voigt, Myrna Voda, Andre Webb, Robert White, Lewin Williams, Wanda Williford, Amanda Wilson, Judy Woolgang, Linda Yax, Debbie Young, Vivian Younger.
Thank you, sponsors.
Our additional sponsors include the Titanium sponsors Alan Peterson, Gold sponsors Kathy Lamb and Norman Oda, Silver sponsors Don Brush, and a Bronze sponsor Charles Jones.
Yeah, we had a few new ones added. Isn't that great? Yeah, thank you so much, everyone who helped sponsor this year. Just really appreciate it. All right. We are now to our angel presentations, and these are both people that I knew. Iva Menning from Salem, Oregon, and Carl Jarvis, who was my mentor, from Quilcene, Washington. And we'll have those angel presentations now.
Against a glittery background, the letters ACB. Below each letter is its corresponding Braille cell. ACB presents ACB Angel. Iva Menning, May 18th, 1930 to April 4th, 2024. Larry Menning, Grand Ronde, Oregon.
Iva May Menning, teacher and friend, May 18th, 1930 to April 4th, 2024. Iva May Speed was born May 18th, 1930 to Irene and George Speed. At the age of 8 years old, she was blinded by a childhood accident. In 1938, she was enrolled in the Oregon School for the Blind, where she attended 3rd grade through junior high. She then transferred to Salem Public High School, from which she graduated. After acquiring a guide dog named Queenie, she began college at Oregon College of Education from 1951 to 1954. All through her college years, she received numerous academic awards. The senior year, she was chosen for recognition in Who's Who in American colleges and universities. While at college, she was a member of several sororities and organizations and graduated in 1954 with a Bachelor of Science degree in education. In 1955, she was the first blind teacher to be employed by Seattle Public Schools, working with visually impaired children. She eventually moved back to Oregon to teach at the Oregon State School for the Blind. On June 20th, 1959, Iva married Wally Menning, and they later became parents to 2 wonderful children, Larry and Linda. She worked as a substitute teacher while taking time to raise her family and care for her aging mother. She eventually went back to work full-time at Oregon Commission for the Blind as a living skills and resource teacher and worked there until retirement. Iva and Wally were married for 55 years until he passed in 2014. On April 4th, 2024, Iva passed away at the age of 93. She left behind a son as well as a great number of former students who remember her as a great teacher. Iva was a member of the American Council of the Blind of Oregon for more than 50 years. She and Wally Menning contributed significant time, talent, and treasure to our state affiliate as well as the local Willamette chapter. Both will be greatly missed, but fondly remembered. Love you, Mom.
ACB Angel, Carl Allen Jarvis, April 13th, 1935 to March 18th, 2025. Alco Canfield, Spokane, Washington.
Carl Jarvis, born April 13, 1935, passed away at his home in Quilcene, Washington on March 18, 2025, at the age of 89 from Parkinson's disease. Carl was employed as a Braille teacher, director of the Orientation and Training Center for the Department of Services for the Blind, and as a rehabilitation teacher for the University of Washington Independent Living Program. Washington State considered Carl the historian extraordinaire. Carl could share off the top of his head any historical fact regarding the blindness movement, both nationally and within Washington State. Carl epitomized a single-minded focus on blindness advocacy all his adult life, fighting for both the individual and collective rights of blind people. We know Washington State feels a great loss in Carl's departure. He was such a strong and knowledgeable advocate. His legacy of fortitude and commitment to serving blind people will inspire us forever.
A logo, ACB in print and braille, American Council of the Blind, together for a bright future.
So those of you who work on resolutions in your different affiliates or at the national level will really appreciate Carl. He was my mentor in so many ways, but about resolutions. And I remember his favorite line when we were working through the resolution process, and we would get down to the condemn and deplore part, because we used to use that phrase a lot, right? Yeah, we condemn and deplore, whatever it was. Because we don't want to send the blind of America back to Elizabethan almshouses. I always thought that was the funniest line. I don't know if any of us knew anything about Elizabethan almshouses till Carl told us about it. Yeah, it was great stuff. All right, this morning we have our final roll call of convention. And we will be going to do that now. So if everyone is ready for the roll call, I will turn this over to Katie Frederick.
All right. Good morning, ACB. Let's turn it up. There we go. Fixing the microphone. I can talk. Before we begin, while my friends from Alabama through Connecticut are getting to their mics, I want to thank everyone for your patience this week and for helping me. It's been a fun week. I've enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to do it more. So, all right, but let's get the final roll call of convention underway. So, Alabama, 4 votes.
Alabama President Jimmy Smith cast the following votes as follows: 3 Armstrong, 1 Selm.
3 Armstrong, 1 Selm.
Correct.
Thank you. Arizona, 3 votes.
Good morning. This is Melanie Sonoe, President of the Arizona Council of the Blind. We cast 2.5 votes for Armstrong and 0.5 for Selm.
2.5 Armstrong, 0.5 Selm.
Yes, ma'am.
Arkansas, 1 vote.
0.5 for Armstrong. I can't say his name, so I'm going to spell it. Y'all want mine? 0.5 for SELM.
0.5 Armstrong, 0.5 Selm. Thank you.
Thank you.
California, 15 votes.
Good morning, everybody. Guillermo Robles, President of the California Council of the Blind, casting 9 votes Armstrong, 6 votes Selm.
9 Armstrong, 6 Selm.
Correct.
If I could have Delaware through Indiana get to mics, please. Colorado, 1 vote.
David Dunphy for Colorado. 1 vote for Armstrong, and we're very lucky to have you, Katie. You're doing a great job. Keep it up.
1 Armstrong.
You got it.
Connecticut, 1 vote.
Connecticut cast 1 vote for Armstrong.
1 Armstrong. Delaware, 1 vote.
Delaware cast 1 vote for Selm.
1 Selm. DC Council, 1 vote. DC Council, 1 vote. Moving on, Florida, 25 votes.
Good morning. Florida cast 7, Armstrong, 18, Selm.
7 Armstrong, 18 Selm.
Yes, ma'am.
Georgia, 5 votes.
Good morning. Georgia casts 0.5 Armstrong, 4.5 Selm.
0.5 Armstrong, 4.5 Selm.
Yes, ma'am.
Hawaii, 2 votes.
Hawaii casts 2 votes for Armstrong.
2 Armstrong.
Correct.
If I could have Iowa through Maine get ready, please. Illinois, 3 votes.
Good morning, Madam Secretary. Rachel Schroeder, alternate delegate, casting Illinois' votes as follows: 1.5 Armstrong, 1.5 Selm.
1.5 Armstrong, 1.5 Selm. Indiana, 3 votes.
Alternate delegate for Indiana, Deanne Hart, and I have 2 votes for Armstrong and 1 vote for Selm.
2 Armstrong, 1 Selm. Iowa, 4 votes.
Good morning, Lori Trujillo for the Iowa Council of the United Blind. ICUB casts 3.5 votes for Armstrong, 0.5 votes for Selm.
3.5 Armstrong, 0.5 Selm. Kansas, 3 votes.
Paul Knapp here, your Kansas delegate, and we cast our vote as follows: Deborah Armstrong, 2. Amanda Selm, 1. Thank you.
2 Armstrong, 1 Selm.
Correct.
Kentucky, 13 votes.
Kentucky cast 2 votes for Armstrong and 11 for Selm.
2 Armstrong, 11 Selm. Bluegrass, 3 votes.
Bluegrass cast 3 votes to Amanda Selm.
3 Selm. If I could have Maryland through Missouri get to mics, please. Louisiana, 2 votes.
Good morning. I'm Troy Cheney, and Louisiana cast 2 votes for Amanda Selm.
2 Selm. Maine, 1 vote. Maine, 1 vote. We will come back to Maine.
No, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm unmuted.
You're unmuted. We can hear you.
Okay. ACB of Maine cast 1 vote for Deborah Armstrong.
1 Armstrong. Thank you. All right. Maryland votes.
Cast 1 vote Armstrong, 1 vote Selm.
1 Armstrong, 1 Selm. Bay State, 8 votes.
Good morning. Sorry. This is Diana Leonard, Bay State delegate. We cast 6 Armstrong, 2 Selm.
6 Armstrong.
And,
all right. 6 Armstrong, 2 Selm.
Correct. Thank you.
Michigan, 4 votes.
Chris Schumacher, delegate for Michigan, casts 1 vote for Armstrong, 3 votes for Selm.
1 Armstrong, 3 Selm.
Correct.
Minnesota, 3 votes.
Minnesota casts 2 Armstrong, 1 Selm.
2 Armstrong, 1 Selm.
Correct.
Mississippi, 3 votes.
Ralph Smitherman, delegate. We cast 3 Armstrong.
3 Armstrong.
That's correct. Thank you.
If I could have Nebraska through Ohio get to mics, please. Missouri, 8 votes.
Greg Hollins from Missouri. Missouri cast 6.5 Armstrong, 1.5 Selm.
6.5 Armstrong, 1.5 Selm.
Correct.
We're getting some feedback. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Thank
we're working.
you.
If everybody could mute their cell phones, please.
Thank you. That's much better. I can hear myself think now. All right. Nebraska, 1 vote.
Nebraska cast 0.5 Armstrong, 0.5 Selm.
0.5 Armstrong, 0.5 Selm. New Jersey, 3 votes.
Good morning. New Jersey cast 1 vote Armstrong, 2 Selm.
1 Armstrong, 2 Selm. New York, 8 votes.
New York casts 4.5 for Armstrong, 3.5 for Selm.
4.5 Armstrong, 3.5 Selm. North Carolina, 3 votes.
Good morning. North Carolina, Armstrong 2, Selm 1.
2 Armstrong, 1 Selm.
Yes.
North Dakota, 5 votes.
Alternate delegate Zelda Gemhard, and North Dakota places 3 votes for Armstrong, 2 votes for Selm.
3 Armstrong, 2 Selm. Ohio, 8 votes.
Ohio
casts 1.5 Armstrong, 6.5 Selm.
1.5 Armstrong, 6.5 Selm.
Yes, ma'am.
I need Oklahoma through Texas to get to Mike's, please. Oklahoma, 15 votes.
Oklahoma pass. 14 votes, Armstrong. 1 vote, Selm.
14 Armstrong, 1 Selm. Oregon, 4 votes.
Oregon votes 3.5 Armstrong, 0.5 Selm.
3.5 Armstrong, 0.5 Selm. Pennsylvania, 7 votes.
Pennsylvania votes 4 votes Armstrong, 3 votes Selm.
4 Armstrong, 3 Selm. Palmetto Council, 1 vote.
1 Selm.
1 Selm. South Dakota, 3 votes.
South Dakota casts 1.5 Armstrong, 1.5 Selm.
1.5 Armstrong, 1.5 Selm.
Correct.
If I could have Utah through AABL, get ready, please. Tennessee, 7 votes.
Tennessee, 6 Armstrong, 1 Selm.
6 Armstrong, 1 Selm.
Thank you.
Texas, 12 votes.
Good morning, Madam Secretary. We went mining for our votes, and we found 7 California gold nuggets for Deborah Armstrong and 5 chunks of Kentucky coal for Amanda Selm.
7 Armstrong, 5 Selm. Utah, 14 votes.
Good morning. Utah cast 13 Selm, 1 abstention.
13 Selm, 1 Armstrong.
No, 1 no vote.
What do we
An
do?
abstention.
So just 13?
Yeah, abstention.
They can't do that? No, we need a vote.
Okay, so then can we just say 13 Selm?
No, you can say 13 Selm, but we need your other vote to go.
Nowhere.
You can go 14 Selm.
Okay.
Or
then we'll go 14 Selm.
14 Selm. Okay. Does someone seek the floor? Are you going to do it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're going to tell you about this. Abstentions are simply not votes. So if you abstain, you have not voted. We don't record the abstentions, we record the votes. So we offer the abstention option because it's our understanding, although we need to research this again, that it's required. I can't find it, so but they do not count for anything. So they have 14 votes, and they can distribute their votes ever how they want, but they have to distribute it among the people who actually voted for a candidate.
All right.
Madam President, I'd like a clarification of that. It seems to me that whether organizational or personal, individual, there's always the right of abstention in parliamentary law.
Yes, but we don't record it. It's the same as a non-vote. Your vote total is counted on the totals from the people.
So are 13 being cast?
So they could cast 13 votes, I guess, and not cast one of their votes.
Fine, that's the clarification.
Yeah, if that's what they wish to do, they could undervote. Yes.
Right.
I didn't
Thank
think
you.
about that, and I didn't think about that. I apologize for not thinking about that. They could.
Thank you, Madam President.
Yes, so Utah, do you wish to undervote?
Yes, we wish to vote 13 Selma.
Okay, they're going to
All
go
right,
13 votes.
13 for Utah.
Very good. Thank you.
Got it? Ready? All right. We will call Vermont. Is Vermont here? You have 3 votes.
Yes.
Okay.
Vermont cast 3 for Selm.
3 Selm. Virginia, 4 votes.
Powell, delegate from Virginia. Armstrong, 1.5. Selm, 2.5.
1.5 Armstrong, 2.5 Selm.
That's correct. Thank you.
Washington, 17 votes.
Washington cast 9 for Armstrong, 8 for Selm.
9 Armstrong, 8 Selm.
Yes, ma'am.
Mountain State, 2 votes.
Glenn Pinkard, alternate delegate for Mountain State Council of the Blind. Mountain State Council of the Blind casts 2 votes, Selm.
2 Selm.
That's correct.
Wisconsin, 1 vote.
Yes, Wisconsin votes 0.5 for Armstrong and 0.5 for Selm.
0.5 Armstrong, 0.5 Selm.
Yes.
I am not calling Wyoming, so we will move on to AAVL. 6 votes.
There's input from 61 members because seniors definitely vote. AAVL cast 4 votes Armstrong, 2 votes Selm.
4 Armstrong, 2 Selm.
Yes.
If I could have the teachers through Next Gen, please. Teachers, 2 votes. Blind teachers, 2 votes. Okay.
AABT casts 2 votes, 0.5 for Armstrong, 1.5 for Selm.
0.5 Armstrong, 1.5 Selm.
Yes.
Attorneys, 2 votes.
Your friendly ambulance chasers cast 1.5 for Armstrong and 0.5 for Selm. Thank you.
1.5 Armstrong, 0.5 Selm. Diabetics in Action, 5 votes.
Good morning. Diabetics in Action casts 5 votes Armstrong, 0
5
Selm.
Armstrong.
Thank you, Katie.
ACB Families, 4 votes.
Good morning. ACB Families vote 2.5 Armstrong, 1.5 Selm.
2.5 Armstrong, 1.5 Selm.
Correct.
Government employees, 1 vote.
Government employees, 0.5 Armstrong, 0.5 Selm.
0.5 Armstrong, 0.5 Selm. If I could have Lions through CCLVI, get ready, please. Next Gen, 3 votes.
Next Gen casts 1.5 votes for Armstrong and 1.5 votes for Selm.
1.5 Armstrong, 1.5 Selm. Lions, 3 votes.
Delegate Line Adam Rushwell would like to take a moment to thank our alternate delegate Line Chuck Jones from Tennessee for his help this week. ACB Lines votes 1.5 Armstrong, 1.5 Selm.
1.5 Armstrong, 1.5 Selm. Radio amateurs, 1 vote.
Radio amateurs cast its 1 vote for fellow ham Deborah Armstrong.
1 Armstrong. ACB students, 1 vote.
Hello, Greg Snyder, alternate delegate for American Council of Blind Students. We cast 1 vote for Amanda Selm, please. And thank you, Madam
Selm.
Secretary.
Fitz, 25 votes.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, Katie, congratulations on all that you're doing. You're doing a fantastic job. We all want to personally thank Brad Snyder for filling in for us as alternate. And Brad was at our BITS reception last night. So
Come on, Jeff.
all right. Votes. 8 Selm, 17 Armstrong.
17 Armstrong, 8 Selm. BRL, 11 votes.
This is Jane Corona, the alternate delegate for BRL, with input from 90 of our members, which is 30.3%. We have 7 votes for Armstrong and 4 votes for Selm.
7 Armstrong, 4 Selm.
Thank you.
If I could have FIA through RSVA, get ready, please. CCLVI, 10 votes.
CCLVI votes 2.5 Armstrong, 7.5 Selm.
2.5 Armstrong, 7.5 Selm.
Thank you.
FIA, 1 vote.
Friends in Art votes 0.5 Armstrong and 0.5 Selm.
0.5 Armstrong, 0.5 Selm.
Thank you.
GDUI, 14 votes.
Good morning, Katie. This is Penny Reeder. I want to thank Dixie Sanderson for doing all this delegate work for me while I was on vacation, and I'm glad to be here. GDUI votes 8 for Armstrong and 6 for Selm.
8 Armstrong, 6 Selm. IV, 1 vote.
IVIE cast its 0.5 for Armstrong and 0.5 for Selm.
0.5 Armstrong, 0.5 Selm. Lua, 8 votes.
I want to first thank Mary Hop, who is our alternate, and she's done a fantastic job. For Lua, we cast 5.5 for Armstrong and 2.5 for Selm.
5.5 Armstrong, 2.5 Selm. RSVA, 13 votes.
RSVA, 13 votes for Selm.
13 Selm. Okay. I will call DC Council 1 vote one more time. All right, Madam Chair, that completes the call of the roll. Thank you all so much.
Because I actually know I have your attention while you're waiting for the results, I'm going to make a couple of very important announcements. So the announcement that I have is about pictures for the Board of Directors and Board of Publication members who are here. I know both groups are missing some, but we will take pictures this evening before the banquet at 6:30 over by the escalators that go down to the P level. So that is not the escalators that are right here. Those escalators are over there. I have no idea where those escalators are, so I'm punting. I haven't seen those escalators, but that's the escalators we need to be near. So I would suggest we leave right now and start looking for them. Yeah. I feel your pain for sure. All right. So I appreciate that very much, but we want to make sure that we get those pictures. So if you know of, I'll try to send a note to the BOP and board list, but everybody's not on it. There's been some shifting. So if we can try to make sure we get that. How are we doing on our phone? And these guys are ready. Let's go.
Okay, there we go. So the grand total for Armstrong, 465.5 or 54.1%. Selm, 395.5 or 45.9%. For the affiliate vote, Armstrong, 176.5 or 51% of the vote. Selm, 169.5 or 49% of the vote. For the individual, Armstrong, 289 or 56.1% of the vote. For Selm, 226 or 43.9%.
Do we happen to have Deborah Armstrong in Zoom by any chance?
You should be able to hear me.
We hear you so much better than we did yesterday.
Oh, I know. Zoom was weird. Okay. So I am so delighted with all the wonderful support I received from you guys. But I also want to tell you a little bit about Amanda, if you can still hear me. You know, yesterday she did such a wonderful presentation at the Bridging the Gap between seniors and younger members. And I so hope that she will continue her work improving membership because, gosh, what a wonderful leader she is. And I think that's all I want to say because I'm on Zoom and who knows if Zoom is going to last.
All right, thank you so much, Deborah. And Amanda, would you like to say something? She does not. Okay, all right. Then I'm going to make one more announcement related to the Board of Publications. So as you know, Cheryl Cummings, who was serving as the appointed member of the Board of Publications, let me just back up and remind you, because I know some people are newer and they don't know our funky history and how we do this stuff. And I get barraged in the hall every day about, you know, how is this the case? So I always just say, check the Constitution. You know. It directs all this. But the Board of Publications has 3 elected members and 2 appointed members. One of those appointed members is the chair, and we did that yesterday. We appointed Zelda Gephardt to be the new chair. And so when Cheryl Cummings was elected by the membership to the Board of Directors, that created a vacancy for the additional appointed position. And it would be the year that we would fill that position anyway. And the original plan was that Cheryl was going to continue and do her other 2 years. So I was kind of scrambling when she decided she would like to serve on the board. And then she succeeded, and I was like, uh-oh, I got to work on this real quick. So I would like to share with you that I am appointing Raylene McGuire from San Antonio, Texas, as the appointed member to the Board of Publications. And Raylene has a fan club. That's good. It's good to have a fan club around here. So she is a digital accessibility program manager at the University of Texas at San Antonio, and she's been with ACB since 2020, so this is an opportunity for a newer member to take the stage and do some great work. She's been heavily involved with the community, both as a host and on that very early morning where I live, wake-up crew. And she has been a past member of the scholarship committee, and she's been involved in a number of other things. She's involved significantly locally in her area, and she is studying for her doctorate now, and has a family, and just a very well-rounded person. She's going to be an excellent contribution to the Board of Publications. So thank you to Raylyn for agreeing to serve.
Madam Chair.
Yes?
Ray Campbell from Springfield, Illinois. First of all, I'm glad I don't have to do those pictures anymore. But second of all, question for those not going to the banquet who have assistive listening devices, what should they do with them?
Take them to registration.
Thank you.
Take them. And if registration is closed, stand in the hall and yell, "Nancy," really loud. We do want to pick those up. So if you are not coming to the banquet and you have an assisted listening device, probably, depending on what you're using it for this afternoon, if you're done with it after this meeting, please turn them in here as you leave. We'll be glad to have them at registration. Thank you so much. That's a great question. All right. Do we have our presenters? Okay, good. Okay, very good. Then our next presentation is going to be from Microsoft. They're one of our Diamond sponsors. And Scott Thornhill is going to introduce this presentation. This is going to be a very fun presentation. I hope you'll all enjoy it.
All right, good morning. So I get the honor of introducing our guest today from Microsoft. And, we work with a lot of different entities, and when you introduce individuals, sometimes you don't necessarily know about them, or you don't know a whole lot. It's kind of a name, but appreciate it. Same, but sometimes it's just a name. What I want to say is, with Microsoft, our relationship, the American Council of the Blind and Microsoft, has now gone on for many years, and they are incredible supporters of the work that we do. We meet regularly with our friends from Microsoft, and it is truly a partnership, and it's a pleasure to be able to say that. And we strive to have partnerships, but this is one that has been strong, continues to be strong, and I certainly hope for many, many years into the future it will be. So our two guests with us this morning are Jessica Rafuse, Director of Strategic Partnerships. Now, I did only just a little bit of some of the stuff that happens up here is, I did have to ask Jessica, she sat beside me, I always want to verify how to pronounce last names, first names. And so it is Rafuse for those who have it in the program. So, and Jessica is primarily the individual that we partner with and talk with on a regular monthly basis, really. And I had the pleasure of visiting her at the Microsoft headquarters in Washington State as well. So, and Clint Covington is with us, and so Jessica is Director of Strategic Partnerships, and then Clint Covington is also with us from Microsoft. He is a Group Program Manager. I'm going to let him tell you the rest of his title because it's a good one. But they are going to have a conversation because not just about what Microsoft's doing, but frankly the history with ACB, and I think you'll find it fascinating. How this partnership has developed and what it's meant over time. So Jessica and Clint, welcome. We're so glad you're here. Take it away.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I'm Nick Covington. I lead the accessibility. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Is that better? All right. I like the energy here, and I like the feedback. My name is Clint Covington. I lead the accessibility effort for the Experiences and Devices team here at Microsoft. It's a real privilege to be here with the American Council of the Blind. And thank you for the warm welcome. I think the last time I was here and gave a talk was probably 6-7 years ago. I think it was 2018 was when I was last up here. It's probably been too long, right? This community has been a compass for us. You challenge us, you guide us, you partner with us in building technology that works for everyone. We have a long history of our relationship with ACB, and it's really built on trust and shared purpose. Together, we worked to enhance accessibility for Microsoft products, from Windows to Office, and now Copilot. We're not just working to be compliant with accessibility standards. Our goal really is to empower people who are blind and low vision. You've helped us by shaping Narrator, helping us improve the screen reader support across Office, and really rethink the design for accessibility across the Microsoft's ecosystem. This isn't just a partnership on paper, but it's a working relationship that shows up in our products, in our workplace, and in our shared values. We've been partnering together on skilling, because to access technology means nothing without the skills to use it. Through ACB and our broader accessibility skilling program, we've reached thousands with training on inclusive design, assistive tech, and now AI literacy. I remember participating in, I think it was over the fall, where there was a training session on Office products, and I just really enjoyed the conversation we had towards the end of that about feedback for Microsoft, and I appreciate that feedback because that's what helps me become a better leader. You know, I just really believe that deep down in, we have common values, and that we want people with disabilities to be independent, to be productive, and just to live their best life. The world has changed since the last time that I was here. We are, you know, before we talked about releasing products every couple of years. Now, updates are coming monthly, sometimes daily. And, you know, with that faster velocity, we have to build a culture that supports it. That means we have to be faster at responding to feedback. We have to fix bugs with a quicker turnaround. And we have to deliver accessibility improvements in real time. And for more than anything, what I think of is we have to ship features that are not just accessible, but that are usable on day one. We really... So, you know, we need your feedback even more than ever. Because as we move fast, we need to move with intention. As a product designer, I'm living a dream. The things we're now able to do with AI, those were pipe dreams. Those were things like, I thought it was like fantasy to be able to do some of the things that now we can start putting into place and take action on in weeks, the velocity of what we're able to do. So I'm excited. I'm really excited about this new era of AI and how that's empowering the disability community most broadly. Let me give you a little glimpse of what that looks like. Imagine starting off your day using Copilot to summarize what's in your inbox. Are there email messages I need to pay attention to first? Rather than having to go through all of those messages, Copilot can guide you into what you should prioritize. And then it can help you draft responses, make replies, flagging action items, and that's all built in with native screen reader support, keyboard support. That should just be there. Imagine coming across images and being able to ask Copilot to describe that image for you. Instead of, you know, we know, like my perfect world and the world Clint would love to live on, everybody would create accessible content. Every image would have auto-alt text. But I think we all know that that's not the reality of the world that we live in. And so now we're starting to be able to use generative AI to describe images, charts, to summarize documents. A document, 20-page document, now you can get a really good summary of it without having to spend time wallowing through the document. So I'm excited about something like that. This is not just a demo at this point. This is real, it's shipping, it's available to you. As we move into this generative AI world, I think one of the most important things that we do here at Microsoft is what I call shift left. And that means bringing accessibility into the earliest stages of the design and the development process. Yeah, I mean, it's not about fixing things after the fact. It's about getting it right from the beginning. That's how we avoid barriers. That's how we build trust. That's how we scale to inclusion. We strive to create an accessibility spec for any new UX that we build. And that accessibility spec gets reviewed by accessibility experts and members from the community to help us make sure that we're designing something that really works great. Developers are required to run accessibility tests before they check that code in. And then before we release that code, we work with accessibility experts to review that X and do a comprehensive accessibility pass over it. Those are some of the things that we are doing to really make sure that when we ship new features, that feature resonates and works for you. So we invite members of the Microsoft disability community to be among the first to use, when we started to build Copilot internally at Microsoft, I started getting a lot of my friends from the disability community saying, hey, Clint, this could really help me. So what we did internally is we moved the disability community to the front of the line, and they had some of the first access to Copilot in Microsoft of any employees. So employees across the company are begging to get Copilot. We sent an email to everybody that's in the disability ERGs and said, hey, we want to move you to the front of the line. Because we really believe in two things. We believe that Copilot is going to have a disproportional positive impact in productivity for people who have disabilities. And the second thing that we believe strongly is that the feedback we will get from the disability community will make our products better for everybody. So that's what we talk about when you talk about shift left. It's about designing with the community. So we are excited to continue to invest in the future of AI. We want to hear from you. I want to thank everybody for your partnership, for your feedback, for your fierce advocacy. We're not done. We're just getting started, and we're proud of the journey that we've been on with you. Let's keep building a future where accessibility is the foundation. I'd love to now have a conversation with Jessica, and we can just talk a little bit more about what we're doing at Microsoft and some of the accessibility work that we're starting to build in. So Jessica is the director of our strategic partnerships. Yeah. And I have to tell you, Jessica is one of my favorite fellow coworkers at Microsoft. And I can sit here and tell you all the great things about her because you can't hear her. So she's blushing right now. But Jessica is really fantastic at helping us connect with the community. She told me that she was going to die if I asked her to tell us a story.
Okay, talk to me. How about now? Is that better? Amazing. I am blushing. It's true. And Clint is going to grab a mic for himself because I just stole this one.
Yeah, it's all right. Improvising, right? This
right.
totally works for us.
All right, fantastic. So thank you all for having me. It is a pleasure to meet some of you in person for the very first time. The last time I was at ACB, y'all were in Reno. Who was in Reno? Yeah? Amazing. Well, thank you for having me back. As Clint said, I lead strategic partnerships for accessibility at Microsoft. And I've got a pretty cool job. I get to work with folks like you, customers outside of the company who are always giving us feedback. Now, Clint makes it really easy to do because I go to Clint and to his team and I say, this is what the community wants to see. People with disabilities are looking for these types of features, these types of products. Let's make it happen. And he makes that easy to do. But none of us could do our jobs without the partnership that we have with organizations like ACB. Can I say that y'all are one of my favorites? It's true. It's so true. And I really mean that. I've been at Microsoft for almost 10 years now, and ACB was one of the first organizations I met when I started a new career. I'm an attorney by trade, and I saw what Microsoft could do if we got this right. If we were able to prioritize accessibility for people with disabilities, we really could open up so much opportunity that people with disabilities had been waiting for a very long time. And ACB was one of the first organizations I met, and you kept me humble. We had just released product that was not delighting you. It wasn't making you happy, and it wasn't creating work and employment opportunities that you deserve. And Eric Bridges is one of the first folks that I met, and I'll never forget, Eric and Jeff came all the way out to Redmond. General was there too, if you know Eric's dog, General. Yeah.
Love General.
Other than Rebecca, might be my favorite member of the Bridges family. But I'll never forget, they were all so patient with my understanding of what needed to change, but also, to borrow Clint's word, fierce. That fierce advocacy. And I was able to bring the voice of ACB to our executives, to our leadership, and say, this is what the experience truly is. Does this make you proud? And they said, let's do it. Let's prioritize accessibility so that we can truly be proud of the experience that we're bringing to people with disabilities, including those who are blind.
You know, Jessica, I was in some of those conversations with our leaders, and I really did feel deep down in, Satya and Brad both were like, let's use this as a moment to hold ourselves accountable and to really be great and to really embrace this as a full partnership to help us do great work, because that's who we are. That's who we are.
And Clint is very modest, but he really was in those rooms sharing the potential and sharing the problem statement. So thank you for helping support him. But Clint, maybe we could take just a minute to explain what your role is and most importantly, what is your accountability? And how has that changed over the last, you and I have worked together for 10 years, but certainly you've been working at Microsoft for much longer than that. Should we share how long?
I've been at Microsoft 27 years. I think my biggest flex is that I still have a little bit of coloring in my hair and that I have hair. I'm like lost. Was there a question there? I'm like still thinking 27 years. You know, it's really a privilege. I feel a heavy responsibility in my job at Microsoft. I'm responsible for making sure Windows, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams. My job is to make sure that these productivity applications are compliant, but what I really, really care about is that people love using them in the disability community. So for me, it's really about building products that the disability community loves. And I feel that responsibility every day when I show up at work.
Well, at the risk of further embarrassment, let's go back into time a little bit. Because I think part of understanding the work that Clint does and his passion around it is understanding his membership to our community. And I'm a wheelchair user, so I'm part of this community too, but Clint is as well. So do you want to, when did your journey with accessibility begin?
You know, that's a great question. I think sometimes our childhood traumas help shape who we are and what we care and what we're passionate about. I can remember very clearly sitting in a classroom in first grade and a teacher getting up and describing this class that they're going to invite people in the class to. That's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a small group of people. It's going to be accelerated learning. It's going to be, I think they even promised donuts every day. I don't remember exactly. And she says, everybody who wants to go to this class, raise your hand. And the entire class raises their hand. And they're like, okay, well, we'll pick some people tomorrow to be part of this special class. The next day, they called out some students. And I very quickly realized that I was in a special class.
Air quotes. There were air quotes.
I was in remedial resource class from first grade to 8th grade. I grew up at that time I was living on a pig farm, and I was really small. So I think that those experiences, I didn't feel like I really connected with my classmates. I felt isolated. And so I think, deep down in, I truly understand what it's like to feel excluded. And to not feel like I'm part of the group or the in crowd. And so I think that experience just really helped burn into me empathy for people who are having a different experience than what might be common.
No, thank you, Clint, for sharing that. I think everybody in the room understands to an extent what it is like to be excluded. But what you have done with that information and that experience is really help it define your leadership process. So let's talk about how you have taken those experiences and brought them into how you lead a very important and very significant team that is making product.
Yeah. Well, probably back to our childhood memories shape what we're deeply passionate about. I can remember my family went through a lot of trauma early on in that so I'm from a Mormon family of 6 kids. My dad, I remember very clearly him coming home and saying he got laid off from his job as a diesel mechanic. That was a point where we were living paycheck to paycheck. And as a child, I remember that anxiety around how are we going to take care of 6 kids? We spent 6 months living off of, donations from the church and food from the church and things before he was able to land his next job. A little bit later, we had moved and we'd started a farm. We were mink farmers. It's hard for me to believe that I was a mink farmer, but I was a mink farmer. We had thousands of minks. We had a disease come and wipe out the farm in a matter of weeks. And our family went bankrupt. The bank took the house. We were largely homeless, but I was fortunate that my mom's grandpa or my mom's father helped us get into a temporary house that we could live in. And so I've always had anxiety about how am I going to provide for my family? And when I think about my work on accessibility, probably one of the things that drives me the most is really about enabling education and employment and building the tools that the disability community can lean into and really be equal participants in the digital economy and in education. I can remember probably the most memorable moment of my career after our partnership with the ACB started in 2016. We'd done a bunch of work. We'd spent 18 months really rewriting the foundation of all of our products. We were in a government conference with a bunch of people that lead accessibility work, and this person who was blind, he pulled me aside and he wanted to have a private conversation with me. And he just said, Clint, I want to thank Microsoft. We probably should have included ACB for that partnership. The work that you are talking about today, I know that if I lost my job, I could get another one. And at that moment, I didn't just see a person in front of me. I saw a father, I saw a provider, I saw a partner, and I saw somebody who wanted to live a life of dignity. And so that's the responsibility that I try to bring back to Microsoft product makers that are not as connected to the accessibility community as I am.
Thank you, Clint, for sharing that. I think the inverse is also true. Yes, you're empowering that individual and many people with disabilities to get the next job. But if we don't make accessible product, you're disempowering people to live the lives they want to. And that's heavy, and it is a big responsibility that we take really seriously. Just as important as these principles, and I hope this helps to kind of understand the way that Clint thinks about his role as a leader at Microsoft, just as important as the principles are the how. Is how are we getting this work done? Can you share a little bit about how you have partnered with ACB? And I remember all the way back to when we were working with them on these freeway scenarios where you needed the feedback, yes, of people who are blind at Microsoft who are contributing, but also you needed the diversity that ACB brings. You needed various, what we would call user profiles, different type of unique people who had these experiences and different levels of expertise. Can you reflect back on that sort of feedback that you received?
Is Jeff Bishop in the room? Oh.
No, he's training folks.
Oh, okay.
If he was in the room, you'd hear him by now.
So Jeff Bishop really was Jeff and Eric both were really key parts of my journey of introducing me to what accessibility means. And I could just remember, going through scenarios with Jeff and having him give us feedback and working through when are we getting to the point where we're ready to move forward on this. And so that was really an important part of it. But even today, Jeff's on my phone, talk to him regularly, love getting his feedback. He loves giving the feedback. You all helped us significantly with progress on the new Outlook and participating and giving us feedback. I think many members here have reached out to the Enterprise Disability Answer Desk and pass along feedback, but really feedback is a gift.
I think there's a t-shirt design here, fierce feedback, hashtag fierce feedback might be the ACB motto. Speaking of feedback, it is a gift. But what do we do with it? You give the feedback and you want to make sure that you took the time to share that feedback. You want to understand what happens with it. Can you give a couple examples? Now, not every piece of feedback makes it into products. I will share that transparently. But can you give some examples of what has made it into products?
I can give some, how about if I do one better than that? How about if I give some examples of something that's coming out really soon that is a direct report, that is I might not be supposed to share these, but, so you guys, okay, so in December, we had a call with the BITS organization. Yeah, big shout out to BITS. I'm a huge fan. They had a laundry list of feedback for me. I can remember there were probably 2 pieces of feedback that really punched me in the face on that one. One was just comments is just too hard to work with. How much tabs you have to do, getting into a comment, hearing the comment read, that just going through comments in a Word document was too laborious. So we really leaned into that one, and we have rolling out soon is a significant improvements to the commenting keyboard model. The second piece of feedback that I recall was about spell check. And just making it consistent and predictable, reducing the number of keystrokes, hearing a word spelled out letter by letter, but making that feel natural and intuitive. So our engineers and the Word team have been working hard on improving the spell check experience and making sure that narrator really works great with comments and spelling. And you know, one of the things I would say here is, like, when I go talk to leaders, they're like, Clint, AI, 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 AI. Like, let's do AI. Anything you can do to bring AI to the disability community, that's your job. Great, I love that. But you know, if the fundamentals aren't great yet, have we got to a place we want to be? No. And so the feedback from the ACB community really allowed me to go in and talk to some people about, hey, this thing that's been static, that we haven't been investing in for years, we need to find some people that are going to go clean this up, because that's the thing that's going to help AI shine, is when we have really good fundamentals.
And finding someone who can go clean that up with a disability is even better. And Brett Humphreys, immediately, who comes to mind. We've had a lot of conversations about the importance of teams.
Yeah.
Flashback to 2020. And the improvements that has been made in teams from a blind low vision perspective. Do you want to relive that a little bit? And
well, my past trauma, now it's my Microsoft trauma. I would just say, you know, Teams was not the product we wanted it to be when the pandemic hit. And the pandemic really fundamentally changed how people work. I'm excited about how it really made remote work a reasonable opportunity, and I know that's had a huge impact in the disability community. We didn't feel great about where we were on Teams at the start of the pandemic. We brought on a person named Brett Humphreys. Love Brett Humphreys. He's a low vision user, relies on JAWS for his daily work. Brett has fundamentally changed the culture of the Teams organization. He's helped them shift left in a deep way. He's helped improve Teams from a keyboarding perspective, how it's read out with a screen reader. Brett uses Teams every day. And you know what's interesting to me is when you put a person with a disability in an engineering team leading the work, their coworkers start to care a lot more about it. Because it's not some like, oh, I'm building accessibility for somebody that is not like me. It's like, I'm building it for my friend Brett. And Brett needs to be able to show up and do his job. And so Brett's had a huge impact in Teams accessibility. I hope it's meeting your guys' needs. If it's not, see me after.
If it's not, fierce feedback. We've talked a lot about the past, and I think that is very helpful to reflect on that, because that shapes how we make products in the future. but I'm kind of excited to talk about the future. Like Clint said, we get a lot of requests. People with disabilities are first adopters. We're the community that says we want to try it because there's so much potential for how AI and generative AI can help us to do exactly what we want to do and live the lives we want to live. So we talked about Copilot. It's certainly changed how I get work done. As someone with muscular dystrophy, I don't think I even realized how fatigued I get. Right around that 3 p.m. time, when you need a coffee, you need a pick-me-up, that's when my arms, my hands, my shoulders need a break. And being able to use Copilot to do a lot of the work on my behalf, with me there guiding the way, has been really fundamental for how I get things done. But I want to hear, Clint, from you. What do you see? What are you most excited about? The alien landing.
Well, when it comes to Copilot, I just love how it takes the drudgery. It takes the physical effort
That's a good word.
out of what it means to create digital content. So when I think of the Copilot and AI and some of the big things that's happening, I first think about opening a document. And if it's a 20-page document, it's really hard to get a handle of what's in that document. Summary can give you a very short, quick overview of what's in there. And you can get that summary before you even open the document. I think about draft, like write me a one page about dogs. Am I ever going to keep that one page it generates about dogs? Usually I'm going to go in and start tweaking it and making it my own and adding my own stories to it. So the ability to draft and then rewrite and really shape that is an important part about removing the tediousness out of doing work. A big part of it is, I think, how do we make sure that people are creating accessible content? We know that content created by Copilot is far more accessible than content that wasn't created by AI. So we think that's helpful. Being able to look at a chart, I always dreamed of like, oh, can I give you a really good description of this chart? Well, modern generative AI models can make it super easy to get information about charts, diagrams, screenshots. And not only does it make it easy to give you an alt text version of it, you can start asking questions and inquiry to it. And so in many ways, it's almost like you're now starting to just give you a digital assistant right there with you to help overcome barriers when content isn't accessible. And I think we're just really getting started. But I think the big key for us at Microsoft is making that contextual so that as a screen reader user, it comes natural and it fits within how you work. And, from a habituating, efficiency, understandable perspective, that we've really nailed the basics there.
And there are really two parts to this strategy. We've talked a lot about how you want the end product to be accessible to users who are blind and low vision. But the people who make the content are certainly not always blind or low vision. So we're also reaching that audience of sighted users who have a responsibility to create accessible content. Talk a little bit about some of the work that you're doing to make it easier for everybody to create accessible content.
I think it's just such an important part of it because, we can build great assistive technology, but if the content people need to create, need to consume, is not done in an accessible way, we just really haven't met that standard that I'm setting for employment and education. Like that introduces this inequity. So we've been investing heavily in redesigning the accessibility assistant. That we've reimagined it across Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, not Outlook, a little bit in Outlook, Visio, OneNote, and then we shipped that new accessibility experience across Windows, Mac, the web experience, and it's now coming to iOS. And in part of that accessibility experience, we're continuing to look for ways to bring AI into it so that as you author, so as images get inserted, we're using generative AI to create really great alt text that's way better than what we've done in the past. So yeah, I think it's the other piece that I think we made a big investment in that we're just turning the corner on. You guys love PDFs? You know, when I first started accessibility work, I was like, oh, I'm hearing a lot of feedback that the PDFs that get exported by Word, Excel, PowerPoint isn't great. And engineers would be like, oh, Clint, that's really hard code. We don't understand that code. That's like, please don't make us go work on that. Well, I made them go work on that. So we've really refactored our PDF export code so that the documents that are getting exported from Office using Office's exports are far more accessible and easier for people to share within the disability community. So if it's coming from Office, if the document itself, we work on making the accessibility checker to give the tools to people so they can make content accessible. We work on make sure that AI is creating accessible content. And then we're making sure that if something happens to, heaven forbid, happens to leave the Microsoft ecosystem, I would just prefer everybody stay in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, but we know it doesn't happen. We'd love to make sure that we're giving somebody something that's really accessible.
So to wrap things up, I do want to just make a comment about how lovely it has been to get to know Scott and Dan and Rick and the leaders that you have at ACB who are proactively trying to look around the corner, to look ahead and say, what does the future of accessible technology look like? And that has been such a rewarding conversation to have, to really understand what the needs are and what the potential is. So Clint, a year from now, maybe 5 years from now. 5 years from now, you come back to ACB, what is the vision that you paint for how things have changed?
Oh, Jessica, we did not prep me for that question. She's sneaking one in on me.
Well, I'm looking over at Dan, and he's reminding me to think big, yeah. And that's something that Scott and I have been focusing on. Is Scott will have an idea, and I'll say think bigger, and then I'll have an idea, and Scott will say think bigger. So Clint, let's think big.
I'll share an idea, and then y'all can tell me to think bigger. When I think about the products that we own, I would love for an in-box Windows screen reader that understands content in a deep, deep way, that has reduced a little bit of the burden for people to make everything accessible in the beginning so that we give you the tools to have better consumption experience. I'd love for us to be fantastic at Braille. I think Braille's really, and when I think about my vision, Braille's a path to employment, right? And so I don't think we're where we want to be when it comes to Braille. And so I think that's something for us to go work on. I don't have any announcement of something's going to change tomorrow. I know Clint cares a lot about it, and that's something that I'm in people's ear about. I want to do better at math. I think digital math today is a little bit clunky. And I think we can do better at improving the ability for Office to interop with digital math. I think a lot, I have these pictures in my head of kids that want to be engineers. They want to have a life, that is involved in cutting-edge technology, and really making sure that all of those capabilities for thriving in STEM are just built into the system. I don't know how we're going to do that because AI is changing the way I think about designing products every day, but I think AI is going to be a really big part of this, and I think that feedback from the community as we train those models, as we start to ship things and we get feedback about, how we're doing, I think that's going to be a big part of it. And I hope there's a whole lot less effort of creating accessible content because the content people create just naturally comes out accessible. Do I have a think bigger challenge here?
I don't know. What do y'all think? Bigger. Well, thank you, Clint. And more importantly, thank you, everyone here. Thank you, ACB, for helping us to think bigger, for holding us accountable, and for delivering that fierce feedback. But most of all, thank you for being our partner in this journey on accessibility, where we're learning more about ourselves, learning more about our company, and together hoping to better serve all of our customers. So thank you, ACB.
I'm super grateful. Appreciate the time being here with you. I'm going to be around for the next couple of days. I look forward to meeting you. And if you have feedback about Microsoft products, like feedback is a gift. Come find me. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. And thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Clint. It was great. I hope you guys, ACB family, hope you appreciated that and the interaction. And that's what we really appreciate that. And I want to say I truly, truly appreciate the fact that Jessica and Clint made being here a priority, and the fact that they're here in person, frankly. That means so much to us, all of us. I know I hear that a lot from folks, but for them to be here in person and to share with us at that level, it's just incredible. So thank you all. They'll be with it. They'll be at our banquet tonight. So thank you, Jessica and Clint, and thank you, Microsoft, for the partnership. We truly appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay. Just for those who are keeping score, Clint is quite a bit taller than I am. So I had to bring the mic back. Okay, we have a slight change in the agenda. There's been different change arounds for things, and we had invited our next guest to come, and then we were trying to negotiate a time change because we are running on a different schedule than we were, and we weren't sure he was going to be able to do that, and we had to manage the program. So he is, and so this is wonderful. So next I'll be bringing up for you Mr. John Calcanley. He is the chair, mayor appointee of the Committee on Disabilities for the City of Dallas. And he's going to give you a little update on that topic. And his dog knows I have a dog. Hi, we're introducing ourselves over here. All right, so I'd like to welcome Mr. Calcanley to the microphone.
All right. Thank you so much for this generous introduction. Good morning, everyone. I hope your day is going well. Hope you've enjoyed the convention. We're so glad to have you in our beloved city. It is a distinct honor to be present, and I wish to take this opportunity to sincerely appreciate the American Council of the Blind, ACB, for allowing me to spread the message of inclusion during its significant gathering of the year. My name is John Calcanley, alongside my seeing eye dog, Mr. Deputy. Thank you. And I am privileged to serve as the Honorable Chairman of the City of Dallas Commission on Disabilities, where every individual, regardless of ability, is fully embraced with open arms. This commission is the very first of its kind in our city, and I am deeply grateful to have contributed in the establishment and creation of this advisory body. Since its inception in 2022 by our presiding mayor, Eric L. Johnson, the Commission on Disabilities advises the mayor, city council, and city departments on a variety of issues pertaining to the full spectrum of needs, rights, and privileges of people living with diverse abilities. We also make recommendations on best practices for inclusion and work on various initiatives to advance disability justice, including in the areas of quality education, equitable employment, equal housing, accessible transportation, among many other areas of public life. Our advocacy efforts have created a space where people are well informed about their rights. Additionally, these efforts resulted in people becoming aware of appropriate avenues to pursue when experiencing disability discrimination. Our work in transportation is enabling members of the disability community, including those with visual impairments, to freely discover the world around them and live productive lives. Finally, our collaboration efforts with organizations, including nonprofits, businesses, and government agencies, are allowing us to share resources and bring a human face to everyday challenges impacting people with disabilities, which are often ignored. Last year, we hosted for the very first time a celebration marking the 34th anniversary of the signing of the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, which I believe is one of the most significant pieces of human rights legislation ever passed in this country. This event sparked lively discussions surrounding the impact of this groundbreaking legislation and allowed us to reflect upon how we can move forward in securing civil rights. It was also a wonderful opportunity to engage with community partners and share resources. Today and every day, the Commission on Disabilities aspires to be a beacon of light and hope for our residents, whose skills and contributions bring innovation, diversity, and value to their communities. It is our belief that every citizen can succeed, provided that all the appropriate tools and resources are provided to them for their use. Compared to other committees of mayors, we are unique in that our efforts are human-centered. In other words, our main responsibility is to defend, protect, and advocate for the inherent dignity and fundamental rights of people with disabilities. Within the framework of human rights, there are no ands, ifs, or buts. We either believe that all individuals deserve to live with dignity, or we find excuses to mock, laugh at, bully, ignore, segregate, institutionalize, and otherwise dehumanize those who may look or act differently from us. The stories of everyday challenges we hear about substantially impacting people with disabilities are the results of society's unwillingness to do anything, thereby demonstrating a lack of care and empathy for others. Promoting social justice and dismantling inequities boils down to a series of choices one makes, meaning actions come with consequences. Like everyone else, people with disabilities are human beings who have basic needs that must be met. In short, our efforts serve as a reminder of the one and only essential truth, which is encapsulated in one statement. Disability is a natural and valuable part of human diversity, not a characteristic that defines us or our future. Each day, we live raising the bar and setting high standards because low expectations create obstacles between us and our goals, in addition to hindering our ability to be bold. July is Disability Pride Month, where we celebrate the history, experiences, and contributions of people with disabilities. It is also a time where we honor the dignity of people with disabilities, in addition to commemorating the 35th anniversary of the ADA. During this month, let us all be empowered to uplift disability culture, promote visibility, and challenge ableism, which creates barriers to accessing areas of public life. While we have made significant progress over the years, the continuing disparities serve as a call to action, reminding us of the work left to be done. Our goal as a commission is to strengthen our partnerships and further implement our work in the community by allowing people with diverse abilities to openly voice their concerns. Based on what they share, our objective is to design and develop solutions tailored to meet those needs. Together, with love, hope, and determination, we reaffirm our commitment to advancing the quality of life for residents living with disabilities and allowing them to thrive, grow, and shine in our city, thereby giving them the chance to live their own version of the American dream. This is a hopeful journey. We, the people, shape the city we desire. We are grateful to Mayor Johnson for having our back and being on our side in changing the course of going beyond limits. By listening to people with disabilities and sharing their truths, we can be a more powerful force dedicated to driving positive change. Thank you for your attention, and let's continue embracing disability to foster an inclusive environment where everyone feels welcome.
Thank you so much. That's a great presentation. And yeah. Good work happening here in Dallas, for sure. I have just a few quick things before I turn this over to Michael for our next presentations. The first, these don't segue well together entirely. I apologize for that. The first one is that I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on Denise Colley, because I haven't done that for a few days. And unfortunately, things have gotten progressively worse, and her family has been advised that she will not make it. They're at the place of needing to make some very hard decisions right now. And I know they appreciate your thoughts and prayers. And, we're just going to miss Denise so much. But I just wanted to give you an update because we've been trying to get around to people to tell them, but it's just sort of hard to do. So I wanted to do that here. The next thing that I wanted to do is to ask Jolynn Bailey Page, who has just been so wonderful up here. We have to talk about all the staff. I don't want to leave out any staff in recognitions of staff, but, I have asked Jolynn for more last-minute things, and it's hard, but flexibility is one of our core values, and we make sure we exercise it a lot around here at ACB. So Jolynn is actually going to describe for us. We have changed some things about our banners, and many of you probably don't even know we have them. I didn't know for a few years, and then they were talking to me about the banners one day, and I'm like, what banners? So, so I kind of keep up with some of the details, and some of them I don't, I guess. But Jolynn is going to describe for us the way the banners are and how they work and sort of the whole thing for us real quickly.
Good morning, everybody. And flexibility is a core value, right? It's the way we roll. And I think one of our speakers this week said, what was it? He or she who is flexible will never be bent out of shape. So that's what we do. But each year at convention, we do display our state and our state banners behind the stage on a backdrop and on either side as well. And this year we have 13 new banners, and they do match our previous banners in shape and size. But we have 13 new ones this year, and we'll introduce banners for the remaining states at the 2026 convention in St. Louis. The new banners are the same shape and size as the existing ones, which means they're a long, vertically oriented rectangle. So think about that, like a narrow cereal box, for example, that shape. And each features a light gray background bordered by a ribbon, an ombre-style ribbon, meaning it fades in color. So it's fading from yellow at the top to blue and back to yellow at the bottom. In the top third of the rectangle, in blue, the letters ACB are spelled out, followed by the corresponding Braille. Next are the words American Council of the Blind. In the middle of the banner, the names of each state is spelled out in blue letters. Below that, a blue horizontal banner across the rectangle serves as a background to a yellow graphic image of the state. And finally, in the bottom third of the banner is a list of the cities and the corresponding years that state has hosted our convention. So it's very simple and clean, but because there's the contrast of the blue and bright blue and yellow, the images stand out very clearly. So if you can imagine looking straight ahead at the stage, in the middle we do have a large banner in white on which we have our ACB logo, ACB with the Braille, and the words American Council of the Blind, Together for a Bright Future. On either side of that are banners, and then as I said before, on either side of the stage on the floor are the remaining banners. So there you have it.
I live where 3 states come together, Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. None of them have a banner up there. Dang. Yeah. All right. Very good. I have been asked by the Inspire program if they could make a brief announcement about their new season of inspiration coming up. So I believe that's going to be Cheryl.
Yes. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
So, good morning. As Deb said, I'm here wearing my Inspire team member hat. I just wanted to let people know that the announcement about the application process has been sent out via email, and I invite anybody who is interested in being a leader within ACB to apply. We need people with experience who want to be guides, and we need people who have experience but want to get some more experience to apply to be an explorer. And I'm going to say here what I said last year, which is the truly beneficial part of the Inspire program is that both as a guide and as an explorer, it is you're the one who decides if you're going to put your name into the hat, right? There's nobody there saying, come on, sign up, and there's nobody saying, you can't sign up. So it's totally up to you, and we are really looking forward to getting applications for both guides and explorers. So thank you very much for your attention.
All right. This is a wonderful program. I just want to definitely encourage you to consider it depending on your particular perspective on the world. It's a fabulous, nice long program, and so it's very relationship building, and I'm super impressed with it. Okay, I think I've run out of stuff that I have to do. I'm so glad. So now I'm going to turn the next segment of the program over to our esteemed treasurer. That's the official title, esteemed treasurer. Not steamed, esteemed, yeah. The Reverend Michael Garrett from Missouri City, Texas.
I'm slightly taller than Deb. So readjust. Good morning, ACB. So I get a chance to talk to you about the elements that drive ACB. Now, you as members are the real drivers, right? But you have to drive it with some money, and so that's one of my favorite subjects is the money. So in doing so, before I actually give you the treasurer's report for the year 2024, I wanted to assure you that we had a clean audit for the year of 2024. It just shows that the stewardship of our money is in good hands. The auditors found no cause. We're good. So I wanted to give you an idea, and it's probably sort of an unorthodox way to look at it, the treasurer's report, but at least I want to give you a picture of how our funds are distributed. So for the year, we had an operating deficit of $794,200. But in addition to that closed that gap, we had a contribution from ACBES of $383,500. We had convention profit of $208,500 and realized gains from investments of $61,600. So we closed the year with an overall deficit of $141,600. I started to say only 141, but I know people would say it's a deficit. But that gives you the general idea. So let me talk a little bit, though, about some of the contributions, some of the highlights, and how we came to where we got to. So we had total revenue of which included ACB, ACBES, convention, and other sources of $3,341,000. And to give you sort of an idea of the percentage breakdown, is individual relationships accounted for 46%, corporate relationships 16%, earned income about 22.9%, investments about 11%, and grants 2.8%. Now, some of the highlights of the year included, you all remember we had those in-kind donations, which primarily included the earbuds from Sony, which had a value of about $700,000, and we had some pro bono legal fees, which had a value of about $188,000, and this was associated with some advocacy efforts that took place. We also had, without the individual contributions, without the in-kind contributions, individual contributions totaled $658,000, which was received by members, friends, acquaintances, and angels, individual DC leadership and convention sponsors, walk, auction, just a huge number of areas where contributions came in, scholarships through employment programs and others. Some important contributions, I just wanted to point out some of these contribution areas. Individuals donated $90,400 from unrestricted donations and ACB Strong, which is an important program that we implemented. The MMS program, and you know I was going to point this out because we've been talking about this a lot, and you will hear a little bit more about it in a few minutes. The MMS program received $104,400. $34,000 of that went back to affiliates, leaving ACB with a contribution of $70,300 for the year. We need more donors. I just thought I'd throw that in. Last year's auctions contributed $81,600 total. When you take out the expenses, ACB received $78,300 for the year. The walk, there were 24 walk teams, which raised a total of $31,000. About $14,200 went back to affiliates, leaving ACB with a contribution of $16,800 for the year. There were 4 individuals who bequeathed $234,400 for the year. And we had grants which totaled $94,000 for the year. So, as we move on, we also received contributions from mini mall sales, vehicle donations, and continuing education revenue. And so let me drop down here to the expense portion. You know, you bring in revenue, but in order to keep business going, you have to have some expenses. That just happens. We had total expenses for the year of $3,453,200. And the percentage breakdown there was scholarships was accounted for 4%, convention expenses 12.9%, ADP 7%, advocacy and governmental affairs 16%, information and peer support 3.6%, membership services 32.8%, public awareness about 10.2%, and management and other services, about 6.5%. Fundraising, about 7%. So that's sort of just a breakdown of the percentage of expenditures. In 2024, I started to say 1924, but in 2024, there were several staff changes, including the hiring of our new executive director, Scott Thornhill. Other areas included some administrative staff changes, advocacy, resource development, and communications, and other operations. Wages and benefits, which is always probably the largest portion of our expenditures, amounted to $1,184,000 for the year. We continued to work on upgrading our management content tools for the ACB website. The migration of data from Azure to Pantheon took a little longer than we thought, but it's near completion. The redesigning of the ADP and Mini-Mall websites began in 2024. ADP is finished. Mini-Mall is nearing completion. So be on the lookout for those websites. The Braille Forum had 10 issues in Braille, large print, and in digital format. We awarded 21 scholarships totaling $116,200. And of course, we partnered with the American Foundation for the Blind so that we could award higher amounts to each scholarship winner. And we know the cost of education has gone up and continues to rise. And at year end, our investments totaled $4,430,400, a $20,000 increase from the prior year. So we are hoping and we're working diligently to improve our financial standing. And as you probably heard me say, we can do more if we have more. So, and I encourage you, if you have any questions about our treasurer's report, please contact me. I would love to speak with you if you have any questions. All right. Can I move on to the ACBES report? Now, this is always have a good time doing this report, and it's even better this year. So let me just talk about a little bit about 2024 for ACBS. And for those of you who don't know, that's the American Council of the Blind Enterprises and Services, which consists primarily of our thrift stores. We have 2 thrift stores, one in Lubbock, Texas, and the other in Amarillo, Texas. And we have a special treat for you today. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But I wanted to just give you a brief report on how the stores did in 2024. We had sales of $1,340,900, which was the highest level of sales in over 12 years. And since our managers and staff, I didn't want to say penny pinching, but they've been watching the expenses, and that resulted in profits or a contribution to ACB, I mentioned earlier in the Treasury report, of $383,400. Sales growth has been driven by having a general manager who is dedicated to managing the stores on a daily basis, and that is Chris Sawyer. He has been able to implement some needed changes to make sure that we have continuously more merchandise on the floor, key items displayed prominently, and that customer service remains a priority. Our Lubbock store, which has been a long-time major contributor to ACB, showed a contribution last year of $224,300. Lauren and her team continue to focus on growing sales and continuing to be a major contributor to ACB. Our Amarillo store has turned out to be a strong contributor, moving up the ranks, and has shown some very strong growth. We have a new store manager who came and joined us in 2023, and Darren's previous retail experience has been key in restructuring a lot of the things that go on at that store to enhance the customer experience. He's implemented some innovative marketing strategies, and this has resulted in customers returning to the store and bringing in newer, younger shoppers. And that translated into a 2024 contribution of $159,100 for the year. So, as I said, we have a real treat for you today. Since we're in Texas and our stores are in Texas, our managers are here to talk to you today. So I want to introduce to you Chris Sawyer, Lauren Knight, and Darren Markham.
Thanks, Michael. When I talked to Nancy Becker about having the managers come in last year at Jacksonville, I kind of thought we'd do some tours, we'd go through the exhibition hall. Nowhere did I think we'd be speaking in general session. After I speak for a few minutes, you'll understand why I kind of thought that. But anyway, we're here. We've been asked to introduce ourselves, kind of give a little background, kind of how we relate to ACB, and what some of our goals are. So, like Michael said, with the very generous introduction, my name is Christopher Sawyer. I came to ACB, I've got 25 years of retail experience. I came to ACB after working for Big Lots, which went out of business, Boardman's, which went out of business, and Tuesday Morning, which went out of business. Well, I like to think it's because I left that they went out of business, but that's who knows. Anyway, so I brought that experience to ACB. When I was, I think it was about Christmas Eve at Tuesday morning in 2021. I was there till about 8 o'clock all by myself. The new CEO of Tuesday Morning had said, I think the way to make money is to stay open later on Christmas Eve, and I think we made like $20. Which you can see why that company went out of business, unfortunately. So, but I made the right decision in coming to ACB. It's been it'll be a good 3 years, so I am happy to be here. So they said talk about some of your accomplishments. So Michael kind of mentioned them. The biggest accomplishment we are fundraisers for ACB. The year before I came here, the stores did $925,000 in sales. Our projection for the end of this year is $1.45 million, which would be a $500,000 increase in sales. So I think I'm doing my job, hopefully. Goals. So the number one goal that I have is by the end of 2028, I believe each store should be able to do $1 million in sales. Very, very out there, but I think it's something we can do. Where both stores are going to go over 700,000 again this year. And I think, like I said, I think if we add $100,000 every year up till 2028, we should be able to hit that goal, which would be fantastic. That means we'd be able to donate about $600,000 to ACB and their causes. So. I'm going to start introducing my store managers. I do want to say this is my 4th conference. I started in Omaha. 2 things that I've gotten out of it. Number one, it is hard to be around all these really cute dogs that you are not allowed to touch, especially as a dog lover. But more importantly, being around all of you guys, I've learned vision isn't limited to what we see with our eyes. It's about insight, imagination, and the courage to shape the world around us. And I think all of you here are excellent examples of that. So I appreciate everything you've taught me. All right, so with that said, I will introduce the first store manager. She is Lauren Knight from our Lubbock store. Just a couple of things to know about the tremendous work that she's done. Since she's taken over, that store has produced 14 months of $60,000 plus sales. As far back as I can see in the records, there was only 4 examples prior to her coming of that store ever hitting that amount. So in 3 years, she's been able to do what we haven't been able to do in 35 years. Incredibly impressive. Her first 2 full years as store manager, the store has surpassed $700,000 in yearly sales. First time ever that Lubbock has hit that number. And the number I watch most often is average sale per customer. When she started, the store was doing $12.17 per customer. Currently, the store is doing $15.18 per customer. So she's getting more customers in, and they're buying more items. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lauren Knight.
Good morning. My name is Lauren Knight, and I manage our thrift store in Lubbock, Texas. I've worked at our thrift store in Lubbock, Texas for almost 9 years now. I started as a cashier and worked my way up to store manager. Not because someone handed to me, but because I showed up every day ready to work, ready to learn, and ready to help. What I love most about my job is that it's not just about the stuff, it's about people. Whether I'm picking up donations from a garage sale, helping a family clear out a loved one's home, or making sure our store feels clean, organized, and welcoming. It all comes back to community. That's what fuels our store. Since stepping into management, I focused on 3 big things. Making the store easier to shop by moving things around and improving the layout, so customers find what they need and maybe a few treasures they didn't expect. Strengthening our team, we've built something amazing together, and I want every person who works with me to feel proud of the part they play. Growing our store impact, I'm proud to say we've increased sales and built stronger connections with donors and customers alike.
Going forward, I'm excited to keep that momentum going. I'm working towards growing our local outreach and building partnerships with organizations around Lubbock. I want more people to know who we are and what we do and why it matters. My goal is simple but big, to keep pushing the store forward, not just in numbers, but in community.
All right. Then our Amarillo store manager is Darren Markham. 3 things to know about him. When I was hired, Nancy had told me the Lubbock store had rebounded from COVID and the Amarillo store was just kind of there. With Darren's hiring, he has proven that store can succeed. In his first full year, the store increased sales by 61%. When he first came on, the store was at the very end, December of 2023, the store was going to take in about $5,000 in net profit. As of last year, the store was over $150,000 in net profit. And the last thing to know about him that I can't really put into words is he has done a lot to repair ACB's image in Amarillo. Some of the previous managers we've had in that store did a lot to hurt ACB's reputation. But he's done exactly what he said he's going to do. If he says he's going to go and do a pickup for a customer or an estate sale or something like that, he will go ahead and do it, which we've had issues with in the past. So his ability to help ACB not only is in sales, but is actually in reputation too. And that's something we can't put a price on. So with that, I give you Darren Markham.
Good morning, everyone, and really would like to express my heartfelt appreciation for being invited to this conference. It's great to meet everybody and really put what we do in the store on a day-to-day in perspective. And also a big thanks to Nancy, Michael, and Scott for bringing me on, letting me part of the rich history of ACB thrift stores, because there is a rich history of ACB thrift stores, and it's part of the organization. I've been at the store for about 1.5 years, and when they told me to talk about the accomplishments of the store, it reminded me of one of the first general manager jobs I had, and the first success we had. And my boss called me, "Darren, you're doing a great job." And I was like, "Sir, it's the team, it's the people." He said, "Stop right there. So take all the credit, because if it goes bad, you're going to get all the blame." But in all seriousness, I feel just compelled to say that I truly believe that our success is the team. We have a very wonderful core team at that store who has the success of the ACB in their hearts. They take pride of their work. They celebrate our victories, and they certainly feel the sting of the defeats. And they don't get a personal gain from compensation when the store does well, but they take the pride in what they do, and that's something you can't put a price on. And lastly, really just thanking Lauren for her invaluable help whenever I first came on, and of course Chris for teaching me the thrift business when I knew very little about the thrift business. So what did I do? I just came in there and said, what we're going to do is we're just going to change the culture. I truly believe that having the right people is the most important thing, and they're your most valuable assets. If I could have an application that I could write for employment, it'd just say, "Do you care?" I can train anything but caring, and if someone doesn't care, then you're just wasting your time with them. But right now, I think I have a whole team of people that truly give a darn. The numbers, they've gone over the numbers, and so I'm not going to bore you with going over all those great numbers again. But a 60% increase year over year for the first year, and then we're going to increase that 15% this year. At least that's what we're on pace for. I do believe that the amount of net profit that we generate, which is the most important thing, it's not how much you're making, it's how much you're keeping. I think our net profit should reflect the 15% or better growth year over year. So, thank you. What do we do when we came in? We cleaned up a little graffiti, tidied up the store, made sure that we had good displays, but mostly we changed hearts and minds and changed the culture of the store. But we're not done yet because Will Rogers said one of my favorite quotes, even if you're on the right track, you'll get ran over if you just sit there. So we're going to continue, and that's why I think it's awesome that the theme of this convention is big dreams and bold ideas, because I certainly have big dreams for that store and bold ideas. When are we done? When are we done growing? I always say, how big does a tree grow? A tree grows as big as it can, and we're going to certainly work towards growing as big as we can. The $1 million per store dream is not a dream, in my opinion. It's not even a goal. To me, it's a commitment. And it's a commitment. We're going to write that check, and that check is not going to bounce. We're going to figure out how to make it happen with big dreams and then bold ideas. It's not going to happen because we want it to or because we think about it and put it on a piece of paper. We're going to go out there and figure out strategies to make it happen, and we're going to hit those numbers because if we're not growing, what are we doing? We're not staying the same. So we're either growing or we're shrinking, and we're certainly not in the business to be shrinking. I believe both Lauren and I are committed to these lofty numbers, and I believe that in order to grow, we have to have concrete plans. We have to have concrete actions. To get there, we're going to roll up our sleeves. We're going to put a wrench in our hands, and we're going to get to work. And I'm truly blessed to work for you. And I work for everyone in this room, and that's why we do it, and that's why we're going to go get to work. Thank you.
So you've heard me say that my goal for the thrift stores is that they produce 20% of the total ACB budget. So I'm hoping they can make it. I'm hoping they can make it. For instance, I shared with the board the other day that if they keep the current pace, we'll reach this year's budget by October. So they're on a good pace. So keep it up, guys. I also shared with Darren and Lauren last night to please go back and take back to their staff. It is a team, but tell them how we, ACB, appreciates all the work that they do for us. As I was talking last night, Scott said, I've never heard Michael be that animated about anything. It's the money, right? All right. So our next folks, they're going to talk about some money too, but you guys have had something to do with this. So we're going to have an update about the MMS program, the walk, and the auction. And I believe Dan Spoon is going to lead us off. Dan?
Get a podium here eventually. I'm going to leave it here. Lower it. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, this is the first time I've been on the stage all week. It's really strange, everybody. What a great convention. I just want to say to each and every one of you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It is truly your commitment to ACB and your generosity that is truly making a difference. And I want to also thank our Minneapolis office staff. They are kind of our unsung heroes. So, as the Resource Development Committee and the Resource Development team, we work with Nancy and Nancy Christine because they got to have two different names because they're both Nancys and they're both married to Dennises, in case you didn't know that. So we have Nancy Christine, Chris Sawyer, who you just heard from, that does an amazing job with the thrift stores, but also helping with the auction and MMS and everything else that we ask of him, as well as Sayuri and Yu Chin. So thank you all, Minneapolis team. You're a great support. And then I would also like to thank my colleague, Jolynn Bailey Page, for all her work as the Associate Resource Development Director. And welcome our new member as a Resource Development Officer, Cheryl Rayburn. Welcome, Cheryl. But fundraising is something that the entire staff is involved in. And from Scott Thornhill to Claire Stanley to Colby Garrison and on down the line, Cindy Hollis, Rick, everybody. And I've started naming names that's going to get me in trouble. But our entire staff all comes together to help apply for grants, to work on corporate sponsorships. And thank you all for caring about the money that makes the engine of ACB run. Thank you all so much. And I'm going to come back in a minute and talk about some of our other programs, but now I'd like to introduce Donna Brown, who is our Brenda Dillon Memorial Walk Chair, to talk about our wonderful walk this year. Donna.
Whoa. Woo. Okay. Thank you. Hello, ACB. Wake up, stand up, stretch. Let's pretend we're walking. You can walk right where you are, too. That's okay. Dan stole some of my thunder, but boy, he didn't steal all of it. So I'm here to talk about the 2025 ACB Brenda Dillon Memorial Walk. And it does my heart so good to stand up here and say we have already surpassed last year's amount. So, and we have done it with 2 less walk teams. But it's not over. So, Dan was just talking about our wonderful staff, and they really are wonderful. You know how wonderful they are? They created a walk team. And please join me, because I am going to, make a contribution to that walk team. They are called the Soulmates, S-O-L-E, that is, which I think is a very creative name. But please join me in showing our appreciation for everything our staff does and make a contribution to that team. But that's not all I'm going to say, so sorry. So as of now, as of yesterday afternoon, I haven't had a chance to look this morning, but we are almost at $35,000, which the most recent thing I put out on leadership, we have surpassed that. So probably next week after I recover, either I or somebody from the walk committee will put something else out on leadership and kind of maybe get another little push to get our numbers up there. But to remind all of you who have walk teams, half of that, we can designate up to half of what monies we raise to come back to our affiliate. And so we have some affiliates that will be getting some pretty nice checks. But we have some affiliates who could, with just a little more of a push, could really bolster their treasury. We kind of have this log jam of teams who've raised around $600, $700, $800. But at the end of the walk, you have till August 31st to seek as many donations as you can get. Whichever team has the most donations, most donors, not
Not the largest amount necessarily. That could be the same, who knows. But whichever team has the largest number of donors will receive a prize. So please join me in continuing to support the ACB Brenda Dillon Memorial Walk. And let me quickly thank my committee, because I believe most of them are here, I think. So we have Dan and Leslie Spoon, Dan Dillon, who's unfortunately not able to be here, Katie Frederick, my co-chair Amanda Selm, and then Linda Allison, and then I call our last person I'm going to name the bag man. But it's Melvin Smith, who really works hard in getting the design and the bags made that are given for the walk. If you participated in the walk and did not get a bag, see Leslie Spoon. If you have a walk team and for whatever reason were unable to participate in the walk and you did not get a bag, see Leslie Spoon. And if you don't know how to contact her, find me and we'll get you a bag. Again, thank you to everyone who's already participated in whichever way you have. It is not too late to continue to participate. And remember the West Virginia Walkers team. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna, and thank you for all you do for the walk. And thanks to all of you. I believe was adding this up with Dan Dillon here a few months ago, but I think over now we've been doing the walk since 2009, so that's 16 years, and I believe all told it has raised over $700,000 for ACB. It's pretty amazing. So thank you for all you do there. Next, I want to talk a little bit about the monthly monetary support program and the wonderful work that Jean Mann and Michael and their committee do. So, one more time, we would love to get to 300 participants of the monthly monetary support program. Right now, we're at 287. We're only like 13 away. So for as little as $10 a month, you can make a difference for not only ACB, but more importantly for your affiliate. You can split the money up to 50% back to your affiliate. ACB does all the work, handles all the transactions. All you have to do is bring the donor to the table. So if you want to make a pledge, if you want to get involved, please, you can call or you can email Jean Mann. The phone number is 888-999-3190. Peter Ultra would say, we could put a jingle to that. 888-999-3190. 888-999-3190. 888-999-3190. Did I do good, Peter? Woo! Or you could also send an email to askacbmms@gmail.com. That's askacbmms@gmail.com. I'm not going to try to do a jingle on that. But thank you. We're going to give away prizes this year for people who sign up for the first time with a minimum contribution of $10 a month. But we're also going to recognize folks that have been consistent contributors to the program, those that have been in the program for 3 or more years, and those who've been in the program for 5 or more years. So please consider upping your pledge amount or becoming a new member of the monthly monetary support program. Thank you, and as Michael said, the program brings in a little over $100,000 a year split between our affiliates and ACB, so it really does make a difference. Next, I want to talk about the auction. Did everybody get to participate in the summer auction? I know at my family, we live the summer auction. The only thing that moves us from the summer auction and its completion is the beginning of the holiday auction. But this year, we had, I believe the count was 211 auction items. And that didn't count the B's and C's for some of those wonderful food items. So the auction this year had almost 100 different people who participated as winning bidders, which is absolutely amazing. And right now, the auction is confirmed to have raised over $40,000. So thank you all so much. We truly appreciate all that you do, and thank you to the auction team. You truly, truly are making a difference. And it's fun, isn't it? I mean, we're not only raising money, we're having fun. And one thing, my family member for the first time listened to the auction, and she shared with me, Dan, your group really loves to eat. Because the amount of money that you all pays for cookies and brownies and pecan clusters is absolutely amazing. And that's only because of all of you giving of your time, talent, and treasure. Thank you so much. So, want to quickly mention a new program that we started this year, which was ACB Strong. It's a different program. It's not for everybody, but for those with a little financial means, it was the ability for somebody to give $1,000 a year, and we asked if they could make a 3-year pledge, and they could identify one of 10 programs inside of ACB that was truly something they were passionate about. And many people chose 2 or 3 programs because they couldn't decide on just one. And we allow people to pay monthly, amount of $80-something a month. They can pay quarterly for $250, twice a year for $500. I'm doing the math pretty well, or once a year for $1,000. You could even get a couple of shares and do $2,000 or $3,000 if you wanted to. So at the end of the year, we're proud to report right now that we have 21 participants, and we have pledges between 2024 and 2027 of $68,000. So thank you. Thank you to all of you who are part of the program, and thank you for making a difference for ACB. And then finally, we are really trying to, talk to people about the opportunity to do planned giving. We've had some sessions on community. We had a virtual session with Mike Dixon, our account manager for the Royal Bank of Canada that does our investments for ACB this year during the virtual part of the convention. You'll hear us have a program during Will Month in August and Investment Month in October, and then the year-end campaign. But really, what a wonderful opportunity to make a lasting difference for ACB. The board approved, I believe it was in 2018, our Legacy Endowment Fund. And now, just 6 or 7 years later, that endowment fund has grown to almost $2 million. That means every year ACB gets to take about $80,000 out of that fund with the board approval that goes towards yearly operations. So what you can do as a member is truly plan a gift to ACB that will, over time, build that legacy endowment fund and give us that reoccurring operating cash that we need to run our organization. So there's so many ways to get involved. And as Bill Reeder, who we lost this year, and we cared so much about Bill was involved with ACB for 1 month on our advisory board. And he came to me when I was ACB president. And he said, Dan, your organization has the most amazing resource that almost every nonprofit in the world would die to have. You have 8,000 passionate members that care about what you do. And I just want to say to each of you, thank you. We're glad you're here. We're glad we all care. And you can truly make a difference for our organization. Thank you, and thank you for all you do.
All right. now, our next presenter is somebody we know and love. I think everybody knows who this person is. But she's going to come and give us some information. Ms. Janet Dickelman.
All right. Hold on, give me a second to put my stuff down here. All right, everybody. Good morning for the, I'd say for the last time, but I will do some door prizes at the banquet. So not really for the last time, but almost. And this is the time when you get to see Janet cry because I get to thank everybody and I break down because it's so emotional. But before we do that, I'm going to make a few announcements. I'll make my report, and then I'll do a few door prizes. Sound good? All right. Z-Trip, for those of you who would like to go home, we'd love to have you stay forever, but, you know, it is going to be time for us to go home in the next couple days. Z-Trip has a desk out in the front lobby, right near the exit doors. I think my directions are terrible, but to the right off of the exit doors, I believe the main front doors, will be a desk with Z-Trip representatives, and they will make sure to confirm your reservation with you. And if you don't have a reservation for the shuttle, they will set it up for you. And they've been wonderful. Thank you, Z-Trip. All right. What? Margarine's yelling something down there. Okay. The hotel exit. All right. I'm going to go through our last lost and found items again. They will remain at the information desk until 1 p.m. After that, they will go to the hotel lost and found. We still have that Patriots thermos. I'm thinking that doesn't belong to a member. I think that belongs to somebody that was in the hotel. Because
hey, Janet, I think that
give it
was
to the thrift store? Oh, there we go.
I think it was from the volleyball team.
It might have been. Might have been. We had a girls volleyball team here before us. And the blue throw, I guess that could go to the thrift store too. That's still hanging around. Somebody, though, might want their folding cane. We still have a folding cane down there, so if you lost your cane, please check it out at the information desk. We also have 2 pairs of glasses. We're not sure if they're prescription glasses or just readers. If you've lost a pair of glasses, please check at the information desk. All right, now this is my favorite part of the convention because I get to thank everyone. And it truly takes a village. Sometimes I think it's a town to do this convention. And I am so appreciative of all the assistance that I get. And I first want to thank, boy, has this hotel staff been fabulous. They have been everywhere and helped with so many things. We've had good hotel staffs in the past, but boy, I have to think this is one of the best. I would next like to thank the ACB host committee, the local committee, comprised of members from the Dallas and Fort Worth area, ably chaired by Mr. Ted Harper, and the other host committee members are Hilda Alanes, Sheila Derrick, Jan Gray, Neva Fairchild, and he wasn't on the host committee, but I have to add in her husband, Jim, who was running all over the place, volunteering and helping people. Linda Riddle, Anna Russo, Rick San Juan, Brad Snyder, who unfortunately had to leave us, but I'm glad to hear he was back at the Fitz reception yesterday. That's great. Happy to hear that. And our very own scoop master, Tim Stone, who lives in the Dallas area, and Mary Witherspoon. And they were so helpful. They suggested tour venues for Rhonda, and they helped us get some of our speakers. Larry Thacker, the author that we had yesterday, was a contribution suggested by the host committee. John Bramblett, who did the Color of Resilience on Sunday. And also our speaker that we just had, John Calcanley from the Mayor's Committee. So they helped with all of that, so thank you very much. Now I'd like to thank my committee. Here's where I always start to break up. Michael Smitherman, our exhibits committee chair, exhibitor extraordinaire. We had 86, I believe, 86 booths in the exhibit hall. Michael did a masterful job, as always. Rhonda Trott, anybody go on a tour? Weren't they great? Rhonda does such an outstanding job doing as our tour coordinator. Sally Benjamin and her volunteers. You know, it gets harder and harder every year to get local volunteers, but Sally did a great job recruiting volunteers. Why can't I say volunteers? I don't know why I'm having trouble with that word. Then there's our own Energizer Bunny, Margarine Beeman. And there's really not, you know, that's enough. There's nothing else I can say about Margarine. She is everywhere and helps with everything. Cecily not only runs the information desk, but she also sets up all the Zoom links prior to the convention for all of our virtual sessions. She did something else. Our newest committee member, Keshe Wells, who orchestrated the blood drive. Anybody give blood? Yay, all right, a few of you. Good. And she ran around giving out CEUs for a lot of our sessions. Thank you. And then I want to, like everybody else has said, I kind of hate to thank staff because it just gets so hard, and I know I'm going to forget people, but I'm going to do my best. Jolynn Bailey Page, our stage manager. So many texts from Jolynn saying, what about this? What about this? Do you have a number for this? Do you have that? Yes, Jolynn. No, she was wonderful. Great job. Sharon in the Communication Center. Newspapers, wow. And loud Braille embossers. I don't know how she stands it in there, but she does a masterful job. Hannah in our communications. I think especially just before the virtual convention or the in-person convention started, Hannah got really sick of me sending her emails with all the things that she had to post. But thank you, Hannah. Cindy for getting all of our Zoom hosts. Then there is my friend, Mr. Rick Morin, and his AV staff of Ryan, Dennis Becker, Michael Babcock, Jeff Bishop, and I'm sure I'm forgetting other people that helped him, but oh, Larry Gassman. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, Larry. How could I forget you? Then I'd like to thank the Minneapolis staff who I worked so closely with during convention prep. Yu Chin had her first baptism in fire at a convention, and when I first started to talk to her about different convention things, she'd say, well, I'm not sure. No, I don't think I can do this. I'll pass you on to somebody else. But after a bit, she got it, and she did a great job, and I hope many of you got to meet her in registration. Cyrene Nake, who helped all of us with waivers. I call Cyrene the waiver queen. She filled out so many waivers, helped with Kids Club, did a lot of things. Thank you, Cyrene. Nancy Christine, how many times did I send you information, Nancy, to say, oh, Nancy, could you please update this on the spreadsheet? Oh, and this room changed. Oh, and we need to add this. And oh, and by the way, and we worked together with getting our sponsors and all of their sponsorship information put together. Thank you. Chris, Mini Mall. And Chris was also things happen during registration and people end up, having to change from in-person to virtual and have to have some refunds. And Chris was my refund man. Thank you. Then there's Nancy Becker, And I can't. You know, Nancy is our CPA, but Nancy does so much for the convention and is so helpful to me, and I just couldn't do this without her. Mr. Thornhill over there, Mr. Dan Spoon down there, Madam President, you all support me. Thank you for keeping me on the straight and narrow, and thank you for all of your suggestions and everything that you do for me, and bugging me and, no, saying, well, can we do this? Well, can we do this? And can we change this? And can we do it? But thank you all. I truly enjoy being your convention coordinator and want to be here for years to come, and that's why I'm going to talk about our next few conventions. I know many of you know this already, but I'm just going to go through the listing that we have. And, you know, prices on everything are going up. We all realize that. But because I've been able to broker contracts with Hyatt for the next several years, I think you'll agree that we have some pretty good pricing in spite of everything rising. So, 2026, we are at the Hyatt Regency St. Louis Arch. And we are Friday, July 24th, we're later next year, Friday, July 24th through Friday, July 31st. Oh, who said that? Oh, no, all right, happy birthday. Okay, oh, that's my husband's too. And that will be $104 a night. So that's pretty good. All right, 2027, we are back at the Hyatt Regency Jacksonville. Who didn't love Jacksonville? That was a great property. And that is Friday, July 23rd through Friday, July 30th, and that is $119 a night. 2028, we're in a place that we haven't been in a long time, if ever. No, I think we've been there a long time ago, long before my time. We are at the Hyatt Regency Atlanta, Peachtree Plaza, and that is back around the 4th of July. That is June 30th through July 7th, and that is a rate of $125. Then 2029, we are at a city that is near and dear to my heart, Minneapolis. And we are at the Hyatt in downtown Minneapolis, July 13th through July 20th, and that is a rate of $139 a night. In 2029, guys, $139 a night. That's pretty darn good. We have open years in 2030 and 2031. I'm working on those right now. Hope to continue the relationship with Hyatt if I can. And we also have a contract in 2032. They wanted to do a multiple year contract with us. And we will be back in Minneapolis July 9th through July 16th. And they, from 2029 to 2032, only raised the price $10 to $149. $149 in 2032, guys. That's pretty amazing. So I am very grateful to that. And my friend Rick Connor of Meeting Your Needs, who helps us with some of our contracts, has really done a great job working on that for me. And that is my convention report. Thank you very much for having me up here and for allowing me to continue to do this. And I hope you had a great convention. And do you want a few door prizes? All right. We're going to do door prizes. And as I said, I will do a few more at the banquet tonight, and we have a couple really special door prizes that we're giving out at the banquet tonight. You want to know what they are? All right. We have two, count them, two, not one, but two, laptops donated by Computers for the Blind. So those will be given out at the banquet tonight along with a few more. But for right now, I have a walnut pen. It's figured walnut, so it has figures in the walnut. I don't quite understand how that works, but I'm sure it does. Donated by Dan Lovell, and that will go to Ms. Connie Sims. Then we have Brenda Knowles, who has $25 from Mountain State Council of Blind. Then we have for one of our virtual attendees, Janine Lee, and she has $25 from Arizona Council for the Blind. We have another virtual attendee, Danielle Robinson, and she gets $25 from Florida Council of the Blind. How about we give another $25 from Florida Council to the Blind to Blaine Jemmings? And then I have the name of Maxine Williams, who was here. I hope she's still here. She has a 40-ounce travel mug that was donated by the exhibit hall, by the unknown exhibitor in the exhibit hall who gave these 40-ounce travel mugs.
With a Patriots logo on it, right?
But no Patriots. And I'm going to do one more, and that is for Carol Mackey, who gets another $25 from Florida Council of the Blind. Florida was very generous this year. Thank you. And that, Madam President, is that from me. Thank you. See you all at the banquet tonight. And we have a surprise for you that wasn't on the banquet agenda, but as you wander into the banquet this evening, you will hear some very quietly played steel drums by Peter Altschul and Frank Ritter.
Okay, we are just about done, so just hold on a little bit. People had asked about resolutions for the hotel and the volunteers in the host chapter, and we're going to send letters based on your applause. I think you would pass any motions and would forego the debate, for crying out loud. Yeah, so excellent. I did get clarification for the Board of Directors and Board of Publications, who will be gathering at 6:30 p.m. to have your mugshots taken by Dennis Becker, the pictures that we need, that the escalators in question are the ones that are through the glass doors as you're going toward the exhibits. So I've never seen any escalators there, but I'm sure they'll put them there before 6:30, and we'll stand by them. So just so you know that that's the plan. I want to just do a couple more thank yous related to the convention that have not been mentioned. It makes sense that they wouldn't be. One of them is my convention program committee, which does a marvelous job of helping piece together our general session. Particularly, a lot of that credit goes to Kim Charlson, who helps us always find our international guests and our library people and our narrator, and, well, library people we know, but the narrator and all of that. But the rest of our program committee works really hard. And then I want to thank all of the affiliates and program chairs who handled all of our sessions, both in the virtual time and here in the hybrid time. We've had some marvelous programming this year. I know they'll be working on getting the podcasts available for that stuff. And will be in the next couple of months. But I really want to thank everyone who worked so hard to put those together and to get their information into Janet and into Cecily and into whoever else we thunk up to want to have it. And so I really want to thank those people as well. I believe we are to the end of our business. I'm hesitating slightly. Are there any other announcements that anyone has related to the convention that need to be made? Hearing none, we're adjourned.
A logo, ACB in print and braille, American Council of the Blind, together for a bright future.